What is up, fellow developers? My name is Tyler Potts, and today we're going to be making a game in Vue.js. In the last video we actually made a game in vanilla JavaScript, but everyone pointed out that it would be better to make this in a front-end framework with the virtual DOM, because the virtual DOM gives you a lot better performance. So that is what we're going to do, because this game I want to make it open source so people can all get involved, and I think a framework is better for that, because then we get the best of both worlds. We've got a component-based system, we'll have split code basis, and basically it will make it a lot easier for us to do. So this is the game we're going to be making. As you can see, we've got current bytes. So if you've ever played Cookie Clicker, you would normally click a cookie or something. In this one, it's actually aimed towards programmers. I've called it the startup game. So it's kind of like you're a startup, you're starting up your business, you've got to hire interns, you've got to hire junior developers. But first, you need to make some money so you can hire them. So you've got to start coding yourself. So you've just got to type on your keyboard. Any key you press on your keyboard would be equal to a byte. So if you fast type it, then you can obviously gain a lot more quite quickly. But as you can see, we now have enough money to buy our first intern and a junior developer, but we won't say that. So if I buy an intern, you'll see we get this bytes per second. And the bytes per second means every second this value will go up by whatever this is. Currently it's 0.1, so you won't notice it until it actually goes up by 0.1, or until it goes up a whole number, which will take obviously 10 seconds because of the bytes per second. So if I was to, let's say, buy a junior developer who actually gives us 0.5 of a second, so now that's combined with our intern, they're both working together, and as you can see, it's starting to go up a little faster. So if I was now to type and we was to, let's say, buy another developer, junior developer, you'd see it's now 1, so now it's going to go up 1 per second, and actually it's starting to go up a lot faster. And again, we can keep going, and as you can see there, this is bytes until next level. So each byte is equal to basically like experience, and every time you get experience, this will go down. Once this gets to 0, you'll level up. So I'll probably change this into a progress bar at the bottom here, which will show your progress going up, or you guys can decide what you would like to do with that. Again, it's a community-based game. And once that's all done, obviously you hire more interns, you hire more things, but they get more expensive as you buy more of them. Junior developers get more expensive as you buy them, and so on and so forth. So this is the base game so far. I'm aiming to add in like power-ups and more stuff than just this, maybe some sort of resource management sort of thing. So you have to buy like equipment and have a fee, which will cost you bytes. So you have to be earning more bytes by how much bytes are being taken away and stuff like that. I don't know, these are just game ideas. Again, you guys can get involved with this, jump on Twitter, send me a tweet. So without further ado guys, let's get started with this game. So let's move this over to the right and let's stop this server. I'm actually gonna cd back and back again, and then I'm gonna cd into my games folder, because it's gonna be an actual game which we're creating. So to get started, we need to install Vue.js, and to install Vue.js, you can either use npm or yarn, or no, I think you actually can only use npm, or maybe you can use yarn, I don't know, but for npm you do npm i-g, and you would say @vue/cli. For yarn, it would be yarn add, and then you would say global, or maybe yarn global add, and hit enter, and that will install the Vue CLI for you, so you can now use the Vue CLI. I'll be using yarn for most of these tutorials because my npm is broken. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. So for this, I'm now just going to say Vue create, and we're going to give it a name. So this is going to be called startup, or the startup. We're going to say the startup. And I'm going to hit enter, and now this is going to create our game or our boilerplate, but first it's going to ask us for a preset. So I'm going to manually select the features, and one of them is going to be Vuex. I'm going to press spacebar to select Vuex. The second one is going to be CSS preprocessors, and they're the only ones we're going to be using. I don't need a router because there's only going to be one Vue for this page, and I don't need TypeScript because I feel I want to make it as accessible for everyone to get involved, and I think TypeScript will alienate a few people. So let's hit enter, and I'm going to select Sass with Node Sass. I'm just going to enter through the rest of this, and now this is going to initialize or create our Vue boilerplate, it should call it. So once that's done, we will start. Okay guys, as you can see, it's now finished setting up. So we can cd into this directory. And then now we're in the directory, we need to do two things. First, we need to open up this directory. So I'm going to say code docs, I'm using VS Code. And then I'm also going to say and yarn surf to surf the files basically on a development server. So that's going to start up the development server. But for now, let's move this over there and drag this to match that. I'm actually going to shrink this down. It's going to break the layout here, but we'll probably cater for that when we design this next one. Actually on the right, it's updated to have our boilerplate Vue.js app. And if we go over here, we can see we have a bunch of config files. We don't really need to touch them just now. Maybe in the future we might, but for now we don't. We have the public with, again, our thing. So we're just going to change the title to be the start up. And we're going to say game. Hit save, and that's going to update up there. So now our title's done. That's the only thing we're going to touch in public. In our source, as you can see, we have this store. So if you're not used to using Vuex before, so we've done Vue before, but Vuex is something we haven't done often. And Vuex basically is a state management, just a state management plugin to Vue. And it allows us to basically have a centralized area to hold our global state, where we can use it in any component, no matter where it's nested or how the data is distributed. So in our component, so let's clear up this file now. So let's remove these, and let's just put a hello. Let's just put hello in there so it's something in there. Let's remove this. Let's also remove this, but we're going to keep our components object because we're going to need that soon. And we're also going to remove this. As you can see, this says lang Sass, and that's because we're going to be using Sass to write our CSS. And as you can see, now we've saved, we've just got hello. So inside of components, we want to delete our hello world, and inside the assets, we want to delete our logo. We're not going to be using assets for today, but we're going to leave the folder there just in case. Components, on the other hand, we will be reusing, so we're going to keep that there. In our store, we have this index.js. So let me explain this. So we're importing Vue, which is just a core Vue. We're then importing Vuex, which is the state management tool. We're then telling Vue to use Vuex, and then we're going to export the store to here. And this is basically going to be our state, mutations, actions, and modules. For this episode, we're not going to be using either of those, so we're not going to worry about those. We're going to be using state, mutation, and getters. So if we just save that and remove that and just bring these all up to one line for now, and we can sort those out in 1 second. So once you've exported this, if you go into your main.js, you'll see we're now importing it in here in the main.js, and we're actually including it in our Vue build. So when we actually build our Vue or render to the DOM, you can see here we're also including our store to be included in this. So basically we're telling Vue that our store we want to use, this is equal to doing store. So the store we want to use is the store from our store index file. So we won't need to touch the main.js file for now, and we will need to touch the index. So we need to set up the state. So if you were around for the previous video, we had a save file or a save object. In the state, we're basically going to set up the same thing, but in the state, it's going to be slightly different, so follow along. So we're going to say bytes, and this is going to be equal to 0. So bytes is our currency for the game. We're then going to have total bytes, and this is going to be the bytes not including sales. So this is going to be every single byte we've ever earned. It's going to be here. So it's going to, again, start at 0. We're then going to say BPS, which stands for bytes per second. So how much bytes per second we are currently getting. We're then going to have BPK. BPK stands for bytes per key press. So it's going to be every single time we press a key on our keyboard, what is the value our bytes are going to go up by, and currently it's going to be 1, but in the future this might go up depending on what power-up / upgrades we have. So we're going to also set up the player object, and the player object is going to have a few things in there. We're going to have a name, and this is going to be the name of your startup, and the startup will probably display at the top with like a nice little name of your startup company name. But for now, it's not going to do anything. We'll do that in a different video. We're then going to set up the level. The level is going to be equal to 0. We're then going to have next level, which is going to be equal to 100, and increase, which is equal to 3. So level is your current level, and level is going to be how you unlock new things to buy or new things to do in the game. The next level is going to be how many bytes we need until the next level. So currently we need to get, we're going to need to get 100 total bytes to start with. Then this will be times by 3, and then we'll need an extra 200 on top of this to get to the next level after that, and so on and so forth. So we're also going to set up 2 other arrays. We're going to set up a power-ups array, and these are going to come in the future, so I'm not going to talk about those. But we're also going to set up an upgrades array, and I'm actually going to copy and paste from the previous video the ones we use, but they've got some slight modifications. So you can see here we've got the intern, a junior developer, and a web developer. The intern is like your basic, your first ever one you get. And the cost of it is equal to 50 bytes. The increase is 1.15. So that means every time we buy another intern, the cost is going to increase by 1.15. This is going to increase. So every single time we buy an extra one of these, this is going to go up. Our total bytes per second, which is up here, is going to go up by 0.1, which means every single second we're going to get this value times by the quantity. We're then going to get an unlocks at value, and the unlocks at means we can actually buy this at a certain level. So this first one, update, or don't I call that update? That should be upgrades. Upgrade, sorry. And then so we're going to say unlocks at level 1. This one's going to be unlocks at level 2, and then so on and so forth. So when we add more, there's going to be stuff like senior front-end developer, senior web developer, senior front-end developer, senior back-end developer, and they're all going to unlock at different levels. And then there's going to be more stuff as well, which we can unlock at different levels. So that is what this unlocks at value is for. And that is all we need to start off our state. So as you can see, the state it's big, but it's not too complex right now. And I'm hoping it doesn't get too more complex. I think in the future, we're going to set up maybe some sort of repository which will hold all the upgrades, which we're going to pull through first before setting them in our state. But for now, this is fine. We're going to now go over into our app.view, and we're going to start, we're basically going to start making our app. So we're actually going to basically build this in components. So the first thing we're going to do is change that from ID to game. And then in the style, I'm actually just going to straight away say margin 0, padding 0, and bottle, and box sizing, not box shadow, box sizing is equal to border box. I'm also going to bring this out 1 because I don't like it being right up against the left side, and that is good. We're then going to set the body equal to font family, and we're going to say Montserrat, but I think we're going to change this font in the future. This is just a font I have installed on my machine currently, so you guys might not actually see this if you pull this server unless you have it installed on your machine, because I'm not going to pull it through for Google Fonts just yet. I'm going to have a look around at fonts. So we've got that, and that is all the styling we need for the homepage right now. We then want to create a couple of methods, or should I? Well, yeah, a couple of methods. And the first method, first we want to do is set up a created lifecycle method. And in this lifecycle method, we're going to call a couple of things. The first thing we're going to call is window.add event listener. And we're going to say key press, because we can't attach a key press to our app up here because we need it to basically be on the window. So when this window is open and you type, we always want to be able to get that value. And that is where this is coming from. So key press will then call something called this.coding, which we're going to set up. This is also going to call this.loop, which we'll talk about soon. So let's set up some methods. And in our methods, we're going to have, again, this.coding. Oh no, it's just coding. And we're just going to, for now, just say do something. But we're also going to set up loop, and this is actually going to be our game loop. Now, we're going to be using request animation frame. So we're going to say request animation frame. We're going to call this.loop again. And then we're going to say game loop. So this is going to be our game loop. This is going to be called 60 frames per second because that's what request animation frame calls. So it calls it will call whatever that we've put inside here 60 frames per second. And that's why we're calling this.loop inside the created. So once we've created this component, we're going to start the loop. We're also going to then say destroyed. And on destroyed, we're going to say window.remove event listener. We're going to say key press, and we're also going to say this.coding. Now, this will probably never get called because we're only ever going to have one view and it's never going to get destroyed. But if we ever do decide we want more, this is just there, just ready for it, so I don't forget. So that should be fine. So that is basically the first things we need in here. Now, we've set up the coding, and what the coding is going to do is going to basically sort out our bytes. So we're going to get our bytes and we're going to display it on screen. But in coding, every time we press a key, we're going to increment our bytes. But we'll do that after we've set up the view on the page so we can actually see. So I'm going to go into components and create a new file, and I'm going to call it overview.view. And what the overview is going to do is basically, it's going to be where we would normally have our, let's say, overview. It's where we're going to have all like our current like values, like our current bytes, our bytes per second, our current level, and our bytes until the next level. And we're going to have to set up a few computed values, and we'll go over those in 1 second. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to give this a header. Doesn't actually need a class right now, so we're going to say current bytes is going to basically be up there. And in the current bytes, underneath the current bytes, we're going to have a bytes file, and this is going to pull through a bytes variable. We're then going to have the BPS, which is going to say bytes per second, and then we're going to pass through the BPS. We're then going to have a level, which is going to say current level, which is going to pass through our current level. And again, finally, we're going to have next hyphen level, which is going to say bytes until next level. And then we're going to say here bytes until next level. So that looks good. Just going to remove that side piece for a minute. And I think that's all we need for the markup. So we're going to set up the script. And in here, we're going to give this a name of overview. We're then going to set up computed. And what computed do in Vuex is it basically allows you to, so how you would set up your data component here. A computed value is kind of similar, but you kind of pull from, this is what you use where you would get your data from, your computed data from Vuex. So in here, we're going to say bytes. And whatever the name of your function is the name of what we're using here. So as you can see, we call here inside the templating strings is bytes, and that is what is computed is about. So we're going to return, and we're going to say math.round, because we need to round out this number out, because this number can be something like 0.5555555, which we don't want. We just want the whole number for now. And we're going to say this.$store. So this is how we access our store, which over here is our store. And we're going to say dot, and we're going to say state. So this is how we get our state in our store, and we're going to say byte. So this is just going to return that. So if we hit save, nothing's going to happen because we need to actually import this. Let's get the rest of our stuff first. So let's say the next section is our BPS, which is going to just say return. And we're going to say this.$store.state.bps. And then we're going to say .to fixed to 1. So what we're saying is we want to get our BPS, but we don't want to get it more than or less than 0.1 fixed. Because if we return it to more than that, we can end up being 0.0.00001 or something silly like that. And we don't want that again. We just want it to be fixed to 1. So we want it to be something like 1.1, 2.2, 4.1, etc. So after we've done our BPS, we want to get our level. That is the next one on the list. And our level is just going to return again this.$store.state.player.level. I actually just want to check that quickly. So yes, it is player.level. So that's where we're getting that from. And finally, we're going to say bytes until level up. And this is the first bit we need to do, which isn't actually just getting from the store. So we're just going to say here return, and we'll say this dot dollar store dot getter. So we're going to go set up a getter, and we're going to call bytes until level up. So we need to head into index, and I'm going to just minimize our state quickly. And in getters, we're going to say bytes until level up. So in bytes until level up, we're going to actually pass through an arrow function, which is going to take the state as a parameter, and we're just going to return math.round, and we're going to say state.player.nextLevel minus state.total bytes. So what this is going to do is going to say we're going to check how many bytes we need into our next level, and then we're going to minus the current bytes we have, because this is basically like our current XP, if you think of it as XP, and that is going to return how much we have left until our next level. So if we go back into app now, we need to import these components. So I'm going to say import overview from, and I'm going to say in here /components/overview. Hit save, go into overview, and so say overview, and then in here I'm just going to say overview, hit save, and there you go. You can see it's all on screen right now. So everything is good except from our bytes until next level. Now I'm going to quickly open up this terminal on the right, and we actually have an error. Bytes until next level is not defined on the instance but referenced during render. Make sure this property is reactive, either in the data options or for class-based components. Cool. Let's have a look why that's happening then. So bytes until level up, store.getters.bytes until level up. That's right. And then in our index, bytes until level up. That is right? Am I wrong? So I realized what I did. I've put here bytes until next level. It's actually bytes until level up. So I'm going to actually write that in here as well. Or till next level. Yeah, that makes sense. So there we go. So now that's at 100. And that is what we wanted, because that's how many bytes we have left. So let's actually style this really quickly. So down here, I'm going to say style, and I'm going to click down here, Sass. I'm going to say overview, and in overview, I'm going to display it as flex with a flex direction of column. I'm going to align item center, not seal, center. I'm going to give it a padding of 25 pixels, hit save. There we go, so that's looking good already, or better. We're going to say header, or H3. And in H3, we're going to say color. And I'm going to set this to 222. I'm going to set the font size to 24 pixels. The font weight up to 400. And the margin bottom, I'm going to set at 15 pixels. So it's going to push it away. We're then going to, under this, we're going to set up the bytes, and the bytes are going to have a, it's going to be quite a different one. So let's bring this up. Let's say width, it's going to be 100%. Min width is going to be 200 pixels. Max width is going to be equal to fit content. I'm then going to set padding equal to 15 pixels, 25 pixels. A background color equal to 288484. I don't actually know how to set up variables in Sass in Vue, so if you do know how to do that, make a fork and show me. Make a pull request. We'll give it a font size of about 60 pixels, a font weight of about 900, and then we're just going to say text align center and margin bottom of 30 pixels. Hit save, and there you go. So we've got our little box there, and everything's starting to look good. So from bytes, we're then going to set up the we'll say .bps, .level, .next hyphen level, and we're just going to say margin bottom 15 pixels, hit save. That's going to split those up nicely. We're then just going to set a quick color to all of these. Give it 222, a font size of 18 pixels, a font weight of 500, a font style, again of italic, and finally we're just going to say text align center in case anything breaks down onto the next line and causes some mayhem. There we go. So that is looking good from my point of view. I don't think there's anything we could do to improve that just yet. Maybe in the future we'll actually come up with some graphics to display this, which would be nice, or some SVGs. But for now, I think that works. So that is all the styling we're going to do for this component. And I think that's actually everything we're going to do for this component. So we have everything displaying. Let's actually close this overview now. Let's go back to the app. And we've got this. Now I actually want to start updating stuff. So in our app, we're going to go to our encoding. We're going to say this.$store.commit, and committing is how you would commit a mutation. So when you want to mutate the state, you want to make a commit, and we're going to say in here increment bytes, and this is going to be our first mutation, and then we're going to pass through this.$store.state.bpk, and that's just going to be again bytes per keyboard input. So we're going to copy this commit because we need to set up inside of mutations a mutation where we basically give it that name. We're then going to pass through the state and the increments we want to increment it by, and we're just going to say state.bytes. So we have the state from here, so we're just going to say state.bytes is plus equal to increment. But at the same time, we also wanted to call total bytes at the same time as bytes every single time, because we want to be able to use these together, if that makes sense. So if we hit save, we click on the page and we start typing, you can see it started typing, and already this is going down. But the issue is once we get past 100, it goes into minus. So we need to set up a leveling system. So let's do that. So let's create another mutation. We're going to say level up, and we're going to set this state. And in the state, we're going to say state.player.level plus plus. And we're going to say state.player.nextLevel is times equal to state.player.increase. Now let's go back to our app. And inside our app, we're actually going to set this up in a level manager. So in our game loop, we're going to say this.level manager, and we're going to call that. And then we're going to create one called level manager. Now the reason we're bringing this into a new file is so we can actually have a look at it. So I'm actually going to set a console.log, and I'm going to say FPS, so frames per second. And I'm just going to quickly open up the terminal, and as you can see, frames per second is being called very fast. So that's how fast it is being called, which is fine. So it's checking quite often. It's checking 60 frames per second. So in here, we're going to say if this.store.getUs.bytes until level up is less than or equal to 0. We're going to say this.$store.commit, and we're going to say level up. So we're going to make a check. So we're going to say if the bytes until level up, I think that's what the getter is. Bytes until level up, yes it is. So bytes until level up, if that getter is less than or equal to 0, then we're going to commit the level up. So now, if we type until we get down, you can see we went up to level 1, and our bytes until next level have gone up even more. So just really quickly, if I type really, really fast, get it all the way down until again, as you can see now it's gone up even more, and it's now level 2. So there you can kind of see how the progression is going to work in the leveling system. It's going to get harder and harder to level up. It'll be easy to start with, actually, so that didn't take too long to get to level 2, but once you get through it, let's say you're on level 10, it's going to get really hard to start doing it, because it's going to times, the next one is 600 times 3. So you get 1800 at that point. So we've done the level manager. We've done the increment bytes for when we type, we now need to actually set up the upgrades, right? We need to display the upgrades. So let's create a new component, and we're going to say upgrades.view. Right now, I'm going to put my upgrades and the upgrade singular component, because it's going to be a loop through one in one component, but I think I'm going to split them out in the next video. So for now, just to make it simple, so we're not spending too much time, we're just going to put this in one. So I'm going to create a wrapper called upgrades, and in here we're going to have a wrapper called upgrade, but I'm actually going to, we'll break this down. And also we're just going to say fee4 is equal to, and we're going to say upgrade, actually going to say upgrade I, or index, probably better, more readable, in upgrades. Now, we don't actually have upgrades yet, but we'll get that in a second. And we're going to say key is equal to index, because, we're going to break these down onto our own lines. And then class, we're actually going to bind class as well, but for now, we're just going to leave it. And let's just break down it to its own line, because it will annoy me that I can't tell where my cursor should be. So let's go into a script, or create a new script. And in here, we're going to give it a name of upgrades. But now we need to get these upgrades. Actually, I've got upgrades here. So we're actually going to create a log here called upgrade.name, just so we can see it. But nothing's going to happen, because for starters, we haven't imported it. And secondly, we need to actually get the upgrades. So we're going to say computed, and we're going to say upgrades is going to be equal to return. We're going to say this dot $store dot state dot upgrades. So that's just going to bring back our upgrades, which is great. Let's actually add this into here now. So let's just copy that. Copy and paste. We'll say upgrades, and also pass that there and there, and finally there. So we hit save. You can see all the intern, the junior developer, and the web developer have all been printed to the screen, because we've just quickly just printed their name. But we don't want all of these to show straight away, because again, we've got levels here, so we need to set that up. So we actually want to map through this computed value. So we want to say, we could actually probably create a getter for this. So we're going to say getter dot available upgrades. So let's go create this in our index. Underneath that, we're going to pass through the state again, and this time we're going to return this dot $store dot state dot upgrades dot filter, and then we're going to pass through the upgrade. So we want to do a few things for this getter. We want to get the available upgrades by depending on what level we're at. So we're going to say if upgrade or upgrade dot unlocks that is less than or equal to this dot level. Would it be this dot level? It will just be, sorry, it'll be state dot player dot level. And we're going to then say, so we're going to get the player's level, and then we're going to say upgrade dot disabled is equal to false, because it's not going to be disabled, because we're actually going to be at the level at this point, so we're either going to be higher or equal to. And then we're going to say else if. So there's two things we want to do here. We want to return all the ones which are at our level, so which ones we can actually click, but we also want to change the ones which are one level behind. We want to show the ones which are one level behind, but we just want to disable them. So we want to give the player a hint, like something they're going to get, but they haven't unlocked it yet. So something to look forward to. So we're going to say upgrade dot unlocks that. So if the upgrade unlocks that, -1 is equal to state dot player dot level. Then this time we're going to say upgrade dot disabled is equal to true, and we're going to say return upgrade. And that is it. That's all we need for that one. So let's go back to our upgrades, and this time we're going to get that, and I think that should just work then. So now we refresh, we get nothing, which isn't great. Do we have an error? We do. Cannot read property available upgrades of undefined. Available upgrades. This.store.getter.available upgrades. Index. Getters. Available upgrades. State. So I think this is right. Oh. I just need to say state.upgrades. Hit save. Refresh. Index. Again, it's still the same error. Let's figure that out. So it's saying it's actually undefined in here. Store.getter. Oh, getters. There we go. Sorry, my bad. Again, it's always spelling mistakes. It always is spelling mistakes for me. So we get our getters, we get our intern and our junior developer but if we actually click on our, If we go to our class now, we actually want to set some template strings here. So we want to pass the upgrades with it, but we also want to say, actually no, we don't want to do it on that. We just want that to be upgrade. We're going to create a button inside of here. On this button, we want to set up some different things. We want to set up the class, but we want to bind this class to some template strings, which is going to say button, and then we're also going to pass through, we're going to say upgrade.disabled. So if it's disabled, we're going to pass through disabled as a class, else we're going to pass through nothing. And then we're going to pass through an @click method. Actually, we'll do the @click method after. So we're going to go in here and we're going to say upgrade.name. And then we're also going to say again, upgrade.disabled, ? And then we're going to pass through some template strings. We're going to say, so if it's disabled, the level you unlock it at is going to be equal to upgrades.unlock at. Unlocks at, so I shouted that, sorry, my bad. Else display nothing. So now if we hit save, you can see we've got two buttons. We've got intern, which is already unlocked, but you see we've got junior developer, which actually shows level 1. So that means it's going to unlock at level 1 because that's going to be disabled. Let's actually style these up really quickly just so we can actually see it a bit better. So we're going to say style, and I'm going to say sass. I'm going to say then .upgrades, and .upgrade is going to have a background color probably equal to 222, but again, this is all going to change in the future. In here, we're going to say upgrade is equal to display flex, a justify content center, align item center, and then we're going to give it a margin of 0 pixels minus 15 pixels, 15 pixels. We're then going to say .button, .cost, and .quantity are all equal to a color of white and a margin of 0, 15 pixels. Now, we haven't set up cost and quantity, but we will do soon. We're then going to say .button, and we're going to say appearance, none, border, none, outline, none, background of none. And now let's actually style the button properly. So we've done the reset. So let's say display inline block. We can then say min width 300 pixels. Padding of 15 pixels, 25 pixels. Background color equal to a 28A484. We're then going to give it another color equal to FFF, a font size of 20 pixels, a font weight of 700. We're going to text align it all center, and then we're going to give it a text transform of uppercase. And we're also going to set the cursor to be a pointer. Hit save, and there you go. So we see this, but now this one kind of looks like you can click it, but that's not true. We're going to say and disabled. We're going to say color is equal to 222. The background color is going to be equal to CCC, and pointer offense are going to be pointer offense. That's not pointer offense. pointer fence is going to be equal to none. Hit save, and there you go. So the disabled ones are going to appear as disabled. Now, if we level up, so if we quickly level up, bam, you'll see junior developer is now available for us to click, and web developer is the next one we're going to be unlocking, which is going to be unlocked at level 2, which is pretty awesome. So that is actually working very nice. Now we need to actually display next to these the price and price, basically the rest of it. I'm actually going to put these in a separate div called details, maybe. And then in here we're going to have a cost, which is going to say cost. And it's going to have template strings to say upgrade.cost. We're going to duplicate this one, and we're going to say quantity. It is going to say quantity. We'll probably set up headers at the top, maybe. I don't know. Upgrade.quantity. Hit save, and there you go. We've got these are the costs, and the quantities are both there. I think that looks alright, and it seems to work fine. Yeah, that'll do for now. Just for this, the start of this, we'll make it all pretty soon. So we've got this, but now we need to actually be able to buy these. So as I click them, nothing happens. So we need to set up in here under computed, we need to set up methods, and inside our methods we're going to have buy upgrade, and this is going to take the index, and we're going to say this.$store.commit. We're going to say buy upgrade, and then we're going to give it a payload, and we're just going to say index, and we're also going to say the amount, because this is going to be changeable in the future. I'm going to have tabs where we can say we want to buy 1, 10, 100, or max. So the max amount, which would have to do some calculation. But for now, we're just going to say 1. So hit save. And I think that is good. So we just need to go up to our button. We need to add an @click. We need to set this equal to an arrow function that says buy upgrade, and we're going to pass through the index. Hit save. Everything should be fine, but this isn't going to be real. So if I go like that and we look, it says cannot read property of available upgrades. Why are you saying that for again? Oh no, it's gone. So now if I click this, it's going to say type mutation by upgrade unknown, because we need to set up the mutation. So if we go to index, and actually we need to go back down here to the button, and actually in the styling, and I want to get the details, and I want to set flex 100%. Hit save, and there you go. That's just blocked out, so they're the same size. It was really bugging me. So in our mutations, we're going to set up a mutation called buy upgrade. So buy upgrade, and this is going to have the state. We're then going to pass the payload, which is going to be the index, and the amount would actually destructuring this to pull it out. And then we're going to say if state.bytes is more than or equal to the state.upgrades, and then we're going to pass through the index.cost. So if we have more bytes than we have than it costs, then we're going to say state.bytes is minus equal to, why is that showing weird? That's definitely not how it's done. Why is that erroring? Why is that being weird? Something's wrong up here. Actually, buy upgrade. Oh, I missed the arrow function for this. There we go. Now that makes sense. So we're going to say state.bytes is minus equal to state.upgrades index.cost. So we're going to remove the cost from our current byte. So the bytes we currently have, we're going to remove the cost. We're going to say else alert you need more bytes. And again, we will set up some proper things for this. Some proper things will pop up. What's this saying? Amount is defined but never used. That's fine. So we're going to say state dot upgrades index dot quantity is plus equal to the amount, so the amount we want to buy. That's what we're going to use. If we save, that should go back. Now if I click intern, it's going to say you need more bytes. If I click junior developer, it's going to do nothing. So if we now go to state.upgrades index, we can say dot cost is equal to math.round, and we want to say state.upgrades. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes when you times it, it will make a very odd one, and we kind of want it to be a rounded number. So we're going to say state.upgrades index dot increase. So what we're doing here is we're going to get the current cost and we're going to times it by the upgrades increase in cost. Hit save. And now if we save up enough money to buy our first intern, exciting times, we buy him, you can see the quantity goes up and the cost also goes up. But we don't get any bytes per second. So now we need to set up something else, which is to do with our bytes per second. Now this is going to be a mutation. And in here we're going to say bytes per second, and we're going to say state. And in here we're going to say state.bps is equal to 0. So every single time this is called, we want to reset state bytes per second back to 0. Just because if we had it plus equal to every time like we do with everything else, this number will just keep going up and it won't represent the true bytes per second we are currently getting. And now we're going to say state.upgrades for each. So we're going to loop through every single one. We're going to say upgrade. And in here we're going to say state.bps is plus equal to, and now we're going to say upgrade.bps, so the bytes per second, times the upgrade.quantity. So that is going to get us the bytes per second from all our upgrades combined into one in bytes per second. We're then going to say state.bytes are plus equal to, so we're actually going to copy what we're doing up here with the increment, paste that in, because we can't call a mutation from inside mutation, so we have to duplicate this code kind of. Now we need to copy this and replace increment with this, but we also need to divide this by 60, and I'm gonna, well, no, that's right. So we need to divide this by 60. The reason we're dividing this by 60 is because we're going to be calling this function 60 times per second, and we just want to get bytes per second. We don't want this to be adding to our total. So if we said this gives us 0.1 per second, this would actually give us 0.1 per 60 times per second, which would be a lot more than what we want. We don't want them to be getting that much. So we're going to set it to divide it by 60 because this. So we're going to call this inside of our loop. So if we go back to our app and we go down to our loop, we're going to say, above this, we're going to say this.$store.commit, and we're going to say bytes per second. So this is going to be called every single frame. If we hit save, nothing's going to happen. But if we get up to 50, and we buy an intern, you'll see we now got bytes per second of 0.1. So if we quickly just get even more and buy enough, if we get an actual junior developer, you'll see now this is starting to go up on its own without me having to type at all. And this is actually our game complete. Now we need to just test it. So let's get this where I play it for hours. Now let's get up to 300. So we've unlocked this, we've leveled up to 2, but we can't click it. So if we click it, it says you need more bytes. So we need to get up to 300 and now click buy a web developer. And now we're going to be going up a lot quicker. And that is our game. That is the basis of our game built in Vue.js. Now, this may have been a little confusing for some who haven't used Vue before. I don't intend this video to have been for beginners for Vue. I probably should have said that at the start. But I do intend it for people to learn, and it might be throwing you right in the deep end, but I'd love for you guys to get involved with this open source game. So we're going to be working this over a long period of time. I want this to go on for a while. I want it to keep going up and building. And just to get this out there, we may have a sponsor called Affix Space who will host this game for free for us, which is amazing. And their hosting is great, so the game will always be up. And we'll be able to test it again once people make commits and that, and we'll set up some pipelines and some fun stuff. And basically we'll have this really good game which we can show to the public, and we can call it basically our community game, which would be pretty awesome. So get involved, make a fork, even if you just want to change the color scheme and show me and say, does this look good? I'll be like, hell yeah, most likely. So do it. Let me know what you guys want to do. If you want to add functionality, do it, and then tell me, and then obviously make a pull request, and I'll see if I want that functionality in or not. So yeah, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys get involved with this open source. In the next video, we're probably going to either, on the next video for this game, I'm not sure if it's going to be the next video after this because we've done it 2 times in a row now. But for this game, if there's pull requests made, we'll make the video about implementing those pull requests people have said. We'll go review them all, so that would be awesome. But if not, then we'll just add some more features. But yeah guys, so thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. If you want to see more, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button guys. Share the video and leave a comment. So thanks for watching guys.
Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact.